Hello and welcome to the part of the video where I don't actually use this stuff that I did here, but I still wanted to show you because it might be helpful. This is where I try to make those tabs that have that some corsets have, and this is what I came up with. I made a little paper template and I also transferred that to my bigger template that was the entire corset, these three pieces here. So I cut those out of my lining and my main fabric, which was a beautiful black velvet that left little balls of fluff all over my house. So this is it. I'm sewing the lining and the shell together. And I wanted to sew both of those together along the tabs at the bottom because I thought that would be easier, but it was literally impossible with the velvet. It like slippery slided around and it looked really bad when I turned it inside out. So I decided to just, cut them off, make a little point in the front and have my strapless corset just like this. I added a black ribbon at the top for the finishing, and I also added some black eyelets and then the black lace up. I also used some black velvet ribbon and this organza fabric to make a sort of choker thing for around my neck, and I just sewed a little tube, gathered it and then stitched it down onto the ribbon. And I can wear these in various ways. I can have it closed in the front or closed in the back, or I can also wear the long part at the top, which is kind of uncomfortable and weird, so I didn't do that. And from the rest of this organza I made this loop that is just, folded in half and then sewn along the seam, and then making a loop, sewing it again along the seams. And you'll see what I do with this right now. I plan to wear it as a sort of sleeve, shoulder piece, or even as a kind of collar piece when I move it up like this. So yeah, next up I am making fingers or claws or spider legs. I take a piece of paper, I make a little tube. This is harder than it looks, let me tell you. I did it 8 times and it was hard, or more than 8 times. And then I bend it and I tape some stuff to it so it can keep its shape, and then I wrap it in some electrical tape. I saw this on Pinterest and it's actually really stable and it's kind of shiny and weird, which is why I like it. I just wrapped it all the way from tip to bottom, and then at the bottom I just kind of shoved it into the tube and it looked somewhat finished. This is kind of a costumey, gimmicky thing anyway, so yeah, this is what I made. And I also made a bunch of bead spiders. For that I used this wire and these 3 pliers and some bigger and smaller beads. First up, I cut out a shorter piece of wire and then 4 quite long pieces of wire. I make a little loop or circle in the middle of all of the 4 wires. After doing that, I start by making a loop at the end of the short wire, and I place a bead to keep up my bigger bead. And this is the butt, or the torso, or I don't know, the body of the spider. And then I add all 4 leg pieces, and then I add the head bead on there. And then sometimes you have to put a little smaller bead so it doesn't just slip off the wire. And then I make a loop with the wire in the front, and everything is nice and secured, just like this. And I proceed by adding beads to the legs. I added 3 round beads, and then sometimes I added 2 of those long beads, and that just makes it super kind of leggy and spidery. And yeah, I will show you some of them a little later. I add all the beads to all the legs, and this is what it looks like. And then you just have to kind of bend the legs to more of a leg shape, and it'll be all nice, creepy and spidery. Here are some of the different ones I made, like this one I just showed you. I also added hot glue to the inside to just keep the legs where they are, and I also added the safety pin so I can pin them onto my top, or anywhere I like, and I can take them off again, and I can use the things that I made without spidery friends on them. I also made a skirt. This is just a stretchy fabric sewn into a tube and then kind of adjusted on the side seams to the shape of my body. And onto this skirt, I added some embroidered beads, embroidered spiders with beads as head and body. Here you can see my corset with the spiders added. In like normal light, you can't really tell that there is the safety pins because the the velvet swallows all the light, and it's pretty cool. So here's the reveal of the outfit. There's many parts to it. The sleeve part comes on a little later. I even made a little necklace. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the reveal footage, and I will see you next time. Bye!